Traders spend a lot of time looking for the best stocks to trade, and StockCharts.com makes it easy for you with their SCTR rankings or scooter rankings. And to get to them, from the home page of StockCharts.com, scroll down to the bottom, and right here you have the S&P 500 scooter rankings. Right here on this tab are the top 10 stocks according to the rankings. And these are on the S&P 500. You also have the bottom 10 with the reading down here of 1.9, whereas the top ranking possible is a 99.9. Okay, you also have the top 10 ETFs. Now, Scooters does not use the leveraged or inverse ETFs because that skews the readings. But these are all of the top 10 ETFs on the American market. You also have the bottom 10, the top up, which means which one is up. Which of these ETFs out of all of them is up the most on a percentage basis, and top down means which one of the ETFs are the biggest losers on a percentage basis. Okay, you also have all of the stocks for the scooters on the Toronto Exchange. So these are the top 10 stocks trading on the Toronto Exchange. And if you would like to see a list of all 500 stocks listed on the S&P 500 in the order of scooter rankings from top to bottom, right here at the bottom right corner, click on Complete Scooter Ranking. And that will take you to this page where you have 5 choices in this drop-down box for either the S&P 500 large cap stocks, the S&P 400 mid cap stocks, the S&P 600 small cap stocks, the US ETFs, and the Toronto stocks. So let's say you're interested in small cap stocks. Okay, this is a list of 600 stocks from top to bottom according to SCR rankings. It also shows the percentage change on the day, either up or down for each stock. And like I mentioned, this is a list of 600 stocks on the small cap index. And if you drop all the way to the bottom, you will find that JAKK is the worst stock on that list. And let's just click on this left box here that will bring up a sharp chart for JAKK. And here you see why. Okay, that was a pretty big gap down. That must have been an earnings call that missed expectations from about $11.50 all the way down to $5. So that is the worst performing stock on the small cap index. Okay, let's see why ZLC, the Zale Corporation, is the #1 stock according to scooter rankings on the S&P 600 small cap index. In the left box here, you can click that again to get a default chart for ZLC with the RSI at the top and the MACD at the bottom and the 50 and the 200-day simple moving average on this daily chart. And as you can see, it is breaking out into blue sky territory with huge volume. So it is outperforming every other stock on the S&P 600. Okay, you can also click in the middle box here, and that will bring up the gallery view, where you can see a daily chart with the PPO and Chaikin money flow. You can also see a weekly chart with PPO and price relative, which compares ZLC to the S&P 500 index. And as you can see, it is outperforming by far on a weekly basis. How they arrive at the scooter rankings is actually quite complicated, but to put it simply, each stock is scored based on 6 key technical indicators set in 3 different time frames: long-term, medium-term, and short-term. Now you can see the 6 indicators here, and that the weighting goes more towards the long-term indicators, with the long-term getting 30%, the medium term getting 15%, and the short term only getting 5%. The indicator scores are then calculated and a technical rank is assigned to each stock. So, in the example of the scooters for the S&P 500, there would be 10 groups of 50 stocks, with 50 stocks in the weakest 10% and 50 stocks in the strongest 10%, and the rest falling in between according to their scooter ranking. If you would like to know the historical reading for any particular stock or ETF, there is an indicator here at StockCharts.com called the Scooter Line. If you scroll down here in the chart attributes, click in the indicators box and click on SCTR line. Click update. And as you can see, AMD, Advanced Micro Devices Incorporated, was not ranked very highly through this period. And then huge volume comes in and it breaks out into blue sky territory above the $3 mark and almost hits $4.50, which puts it right up here in the 95 to 100 zone of scooter rankings this entire period. And then bad earnings came in at the close on this day, and it gapped down and fell, formed a double top chart pattern, and on this day it closed below all support and it fell again. Now it's trying to rebound, but as you can see right here on this drop on the bad earnings report that missed forward guidance expectations, scooter ranking for AMD fell hard, down to almost 35, 30 or something like that. So from above 95 to 35, that was a pretty serious drop in scooter rankings. So if you would like to know how AMD has ranked over the last year, go ahead and click on a 1-year chart, click update, and as you can see, it wasn't ranked hardly at all until this point here. Okay, you can also use this on weekly charts. Now let's look at the scooter rankings for one of my favorite stocks, Yahoo Incorporated, ticker symbol YHOO, on a 1-year chart. As you can see at the very beginning, it was only getting a scooter ranking of about 30. And then right in here on this huge volume, it gapped up, broke above all resistance here, and started its run from the $16 area all the way up to almost 30. And as you can see right here on that volume spike and the breakout into blue sky territory, the scooter ranking moved up into the 80 and then quickly into the 90 to 100 range for a couple of months. And then on these two dips, it remained above 50, so it was pretty strong. On this breakout right here into blue sky territory, it got back into the 90 to 100 range for a long time. And this dip only took it down into the 70s or so. Now we're back into the mid 80s to 90s. And it's just looking real good here. So this is what Yahoo's scooter ranking has looked like over the past year. Now let's take a look at REGN, which is number 9 on the S&P 500 scooter list. Way back in the beginning here on this 6-month chart, it was only in the 30s, mid-30s or so, but it kept breaking out into blue sky territory above all levels of resistance 4 different times as it ran from about $160 all the way up to $280. Now from right here it was very strong. The dips are shallow, and right now it's where it should be in the on the top 10 list of the S&P 500 with a reading above 98. An upcoming lesson will be all about how to find good stocks to trade using things like social media, stock market related message boards and chat rooms, and stock scanners and screeners. But for now, right here at StockCharts.com, you can see right here on their homepage what they believe are the best stocks on the S&P 500, what are the top ETFs, and what are the top stocks trading on the Toronto Stock Exchange.